This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett. As we always do this time of the week, always good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Yeah, you
Happy
got your
Monday.
haircut there.
I did get a haircut
Yeah, it looks
last
good.
week, both of them.
Y'all trimmed up on both of them?
Both of them hairs were cut, yeah.
I think I'm scheduled for one soon, so much to my
I
wife's
think you may
chagrin.
be slightly overdue.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not my business. It's
Longer
your
is
business.
better these days.
Okay.
That's why all the cool kids are wearing their hair long these days.
Well, good. All right. All right.
Let's talk about your recent column on Sunday. You described it as the full Asa. What is the full Asa?
You ever see the movie The Full Monty?
Yes.
It's not about that. But the term is borrowed loosely from that. Asa, in his second term, is doing all the things I think he really wanted to do in terms of conservative manifesto. I mean, we're going to cut the taxes for the rich folks, and we're going to have one of the nation's most strict anti-abortion triggers. We're going to do the tort reform in a way that's passable. He's just letting it loose, and it was predicted that's what he would do. But that's what we see, and it was compounded, I thought, yesterday, because back in his first term, when I got along with him and thought he was a good guy, he didn't like Trump. He was a Rubio guy, wasn't he? And he said some fiery things about Trump.
Are you telling me you don't like Asa anymore? You said back when you thought he was a good guy, you don't think he's a good guy still? I think he's a good guy still. I think his
Well, bully for you.
he's still got the heart of a servant there.
This keeps your access going.
No, I'm just saying that's a harsh statement to make about someone.
Okay, I was being somewhat facetious. I think as a human being, he's a very fine fellow. But he is what we always thought politically. He's an older Tom Cotton, basically, and he's let loose with that. And I don't like that. We were able to get along more nicely in the first term because he was, I thought, doing better in terms of what I would have him do.
He was more pragmatic in some solutions-based stuff that agreed more with your politics in the first term.
But as I was getting ready to say, before you got so upset with me, yes, he goes to the national governor's thing, where he's like a big dog, by the way, big shot. Remember Clinton? You don't remember? I forget. I'm the only one old enough to remember these things. Poor old Clinton tried to milk the National Governors Association and become the chairman and take a national profile, and people in Arkansas just resented it. Like, you're too big for your britches. You're not worry about that. Come back here and run the state. I don't think that's a factor anymore. I think when Asa goes in his own Meet the Press and he conducts conferences or leads sessions, and his high profile is not resented. Maybe because of his maturity, maybe because the state has changed. Anyway, he went to Meet the Press, and I thought did a pretty good Mike Pence impersonation. Trump's doing a good job. It's going to be hard to beat him. He's accomplished a lot. And the Democrats better not, after this Mueller report, if they try to keep investigating, that's going to look partisan. Really? So that was more. I thought that was timely. On the morning I proclaimed the full Asa, we're seeing the full Asa on the national level as well. He's become totally a Trump acolyte.
That's your assessment.
Yeah, and as I guess you would expect, Trump's approval rating in Arkansas is what? High.
I'm going to say, I'm going to push back on you a little bit here, because Asa has said from the get-go that he has not changed, but Arkansas politics changed. He was conservative before conservative was cool. He would argue that he has not changed his political stripes at all. So why would this be some sort of metamorphosis now that he's different than what he's proclaimed to be all those years?
I never said he was different from what he always was. I said the real Asa is now turned loose here in the second term.
You're suggesting that there was a different Asa in our midst for some time, and I'm telling you from what he has always said, he's always felt he's been the same.
Well, of course, we all do. We all think we're consistent. And I don't think, let me try to parse this for you.
Okay.
I'm not saying he was a different person in terms of his inner philosophy or his essence in the first 4 years of his governorship. I'm saying that he's smart, and I'm saying he assessed the political landscape, and thank goodness he decided to take a non-doctrinaire, pragmatic approach. The fact that he found a way to save Arkansas, the private option. is a debt the state owes. When he told the legislature to take back this bill on religious rights versus gay rights and tone it down, that was a pragmatic, somewhat moderate thing. He did those things then because he thought that he had to, or circumstances required it. In his second term, it's different. It's time to do his full agenda, and we're seeing it take place.
A lot of governors are unbridled in their second terms, though.
You know, I think, by the way, just as you didn't ask this, I have written Asa Hutchinson's retirement before. I thought after he got beat by BB he was done, and then one day he wanted me to go to lunch, and I went back out to the state capitol and I asked some Republicans, why would Asa want to have lunch with me? And they said, he's running for governor again. And I thought, really? I now am told by people who know him that they think if Bozeman should abandon his seat in 4 years, Asa seeks to go to the Senate, that he's not ready to retire. To which I say, good for him, I'm not ready either.
Yeah.
So, that was more than you wanted to know.
No, that's all right. That's what we call bonus talk right there. So where you give me something I didn't even prompt.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. That's what you're here for.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's talk about how the GOP, though, has seemed to change a little bit in Arkansas. If you go back to 2010, 2012, you saw a lot of party primaries where incumbent Republicans who had voted for a tobacco tax increase and a dairy tax increase, that if I recall correctly was just to get the state law in line with federal law, got beat over those tax votes. And now we see in the Arkansas legislature talk about raising tobacco taxes to fund UAMS and other sources of revenue. We see gas tax increases, new registration fees for vehicles, a permanent half-cent sales tax on fuel to pay for, or on everything to pay for roads. This is a different Republican Party in Arkansas now, if those things are acceptable, which apparently by a supermajority in the state Senate they are.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by this?
For some reason, I'm not, because it all makes sense to me. But perhaps it shouldn't make sense to me. There was a piece in the Democrat Gazette a couple weeks ago about the proceeding highway plan before it was finalized, and the take was basically about these Republicans and this no tax pledge with Grover Norquist group that they take, and that is their gospel, and binds them from ever increasing taxes. And the article got in touch with Norquist, who said their deal is with the people. It's not with me. It's my group that gives them the thing, but they're making a deal with the people. And if they think the people don't consider a referendum on a tax to be covered, or if they think exceptions are appropriate in some cases, that's between them and the people. And the article said, and I was surprised by this, that in the last election there were only 23 members of the legislature who had actually signed that pledge. Now some had maybe signed it before, if you take all of those who have it, but in the last election only 23 had. Their handwriting was plainly on the wall. The pressure, I believe if we're looking for something, one issue, two issues, that transcend this nationalization of our politics, which is what Arkansas state politics used to be its own thing, different from national. What's happened to us is that it's now all nationalized, except I think about two things. One is highways, and the other is fighting cancer or UAMS. I think you've happened to find two things that we can consider independently, autonomously on the state level without them being nationalized, without their being nationalized. And I think it's because back home, every civic group, every mayor, every chamber of commerce, they want the roads. They want better roads.
There's been a period of time that has transpired where people have seen the roads deteriorate.
See what happens when you don't have the roads.
Exactly.
People don't like potholes.
There's a critical need.
They don't like damage to their auto suspensions
and bridges
and safety of bridges. So all of that is a factor. And then UAMS, on an initiative undertaken by some Republican women in the legislature, decided to take 10 million, maybe 20, to develop into a national cancer research institute. And so, I mean, if you can't tax somebody's vaping or their e-cigarette or smoking, then what can you do? And I just think those happen to be exceptions.
All right.
To
well,
those
we'll
rules.
See. I think that the highway plan races out of the House Revenue and Tax Committee when
I
it's
saw your
considered
piece
on
in which
Tuesday.
you predict some trouble on the House floor.
Well,
not predict, but suggest.
It would be if Democrats decide, let Republicans own this, we have carried some of that water for years and years and years. Let's see if there's 51 Republicans in the House that'll vote for some tax increases.
I believe there could be a little drama, but I think in the end, even if the Democrats said no, not over the highway program, but over juxtaposing it against raising taxes, I think there's 51 out of the 76
Yep.
Who would do it. So,
well, we're going to find out this week.
I think
maybe
so.
next week at the latest.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it stands. All right. He is well over his Oscar snub from last night. John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Always good to see you.
Next year on Oscar. Thanks, man.
It was a great performance.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, that's all for today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.